The gunboat doesn't make a sound. It cuts through the black water of the Combahee River like a blade through silk. No lanterns, no voices, nothing, but the low hum of the engine and the breathing of armed men pressed shoulder to shoulder in the dark. It's June 1863, deep in Confederate South Carolina, and standing at the bow of this vessel, scanning the tree line for movement, is a woman who is not supposed to be alive. She has a bounty on her head large enough to buy a house. She hasn't slept in 2 days. Somewhere behind her eyes, a cracked piece of skull presses against her brain, a wound from childhood that drops her into blackouts without warning. And yet, she is the one the United States military is relying on tonight. Because she drew the maps. She built the spy network. She knows which channels are mined, which plantations are guarded, and which ones are not. Her name is Harriet Tubman, and in the next few hours, she will help lead the largest liberation operation of her life. But to understand what happens on this river, you have to understand what made her. Dorchester County, Maryland, the 1820s. A little girl named Araminta Ross, she'll later take her mother's name. Harriet is born into a world where her body is not her own. She is hired out to neighboring farms before she can read, whipped for small infractions, and made to wade through freezing marsh water to check muskrat traps while still a child. The Eastern Shore is beautiful. For her, it is a prison without walls. Then comes the moment that changes everything and nearly kills her. She is barely a teenager when an overseer hurls a 2-pound iron weight at another enslaved person. It misses its target. It strikes Harriet in the skull. The bone fractures. She collapses. For days, she drifts between consciousness and something else, fevered, bleeding, left on a wooden bench with no medical care because her body is worth more as a future laborer than as a patient. She survives. But the wound never fully heals. For the rest of her life, she will experience sudden collapses, tremors, and vivid episodes she describes as visions from God. They terrify those around her. For Harriet, they become a compass, a voice in the dark telling her which way to go. And in 1849, she goes. She runs alone, north through Maryland's swamps and forests, following the stars, sleeping in ditches, moving only at night. She leaves behind her parents, her brothers, her husband, a free black man named John Tubman, who told her she was foolish to try. She crosses into Pennsylvania and stands on free soil for the first time in her life. But freedom, for Harriet, is not a destination, it's an assignment. Within months, she turns around and goes back. Then again, and again. Over the next decade, she will make approximately 13 rescue missions into slave-holding states, guiding roughly 70 people to freedom along the Underground Railroad, that fragile, invisible network of safe houses, root cellars, church basements, and sympathetic strangers connected by trust and terror. She moves in darkness. Lantern signals flash from farmhouse windows. 1 light means safe, 2 means danger. Some popular but unproven stories say quilts hung on clotheslines carry stitched patterns that mark direction, and Harriet sings spirituals. Hymns whose lyrics carry coded instructions wade in the water means leave the trail and move through the stream to throw off the dogs. The music is beautiful. It is also operational. She carries a pistol, not for slave catchers, though she would use it, but for anyone in her group who panics and wants to turn back. Turning back means interrogation. Interrogation means everyone dies. The gun is persuasion. No one she leads is ever captured. No one ever turns back. They start calling her Moses. And the slaveholders start raising the price on her head. The Union Army needs intelligence in South Carolina's low country, and they need someone who understands the land the language, and the fear of enslaved people who have never seen a Northern soldier. Harriet becomes a scout, a spy, and a nurse. She interviews escaped slaves, maps Confederate positions, identifies torpedo placements in the rivers, and builds a network of informants across the region. By June of 1863, she has what she needs. Colonel James Montgomery commands the gunboats. But the operation, its routes, its timing, its targets, belongs to her. 3 steamers push upriver under a moonless sky. They pass the first torpedo fields using channels Harriet's intelligence has cleared. Then, the signal fires begin planted along the banks to alert enslaved families that the boats have come. And then, chaos. Hundreds of people pour from the plantations. Men, women, children barefoot, carrying bundles, carrying babies, running through mud and gunfire toward the riverbank. Confederate soldiers scramble to respond, but the raid is too fast, too precise. Harriet watches from the deck as boats fill beyond capacity, as hands reach up from the water, as mothers lift children overhead to be pulled aboard. Over 700 people are liberated in a single night. Harriet Tubman has just proven herself the raid's key leader and strategist in one of the war's most extraordinary operations. And she did it on the same soil where people who looked like her were still being sold. Harriet Tubman dies on the 10th of March, 1913. She is buried with military honors at Fort Hill Cemetery. She is approximately 90 years old, though no one is certain of her exact birth date because the system she was born into did not consider that detail worth recording. She freed hundreds. She fought in a war. She outlived the Confederacy by nearly 50 years. And she did it all while carrying a fractured skull, a pistol, and an unshakable belief that the voice in her head was telling the truth. Some people are remembered because of what they achieved. Harriet Tubman is remembered because of what she refused to accept that any human being could own another, that fear was a reason to stop, and that freedom was something you waited for instead of something you went and got. Her life leaves 3 lessons. Leadership is responsibility. True leaders don't escape alone. They go back for others. Courage is built through action. Fear doesn't disappear. You move forward despite it. Trust is everything. People will follow you through the dark, only if they believe you know the way. The river was dark that night, but she knew the way. She always knew the way. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe because history has more voices like hers, and we're just getting started.